Hello everyone. How are you doing? How are you doing? Okay, so most of you haven't joined the meet yet. I don't know the reason. Don't you guys know the timings? Okay, anyways. So yes. Okay, students, we can wait for one more for more few seconds. A session. Okay, so I think we have discussed, sir has discussed what is ecosystem, right? And what are its component, what is the structure and function of ecosystem. Even productivity has been discussed with you guys, right? Productivity and the terms related with this have been discussed in your previous lecture, right, students? And what about productivity? Productivity, I think you all use term productivity and even decomposition detritus food cycle. It's also been discussed, right? And the last time your energy flow and your ecological pyramid have been discussed, right? All the pyramids like pyramid of number, biomass, and energy. It has been discussed with you, right? Okay, so if more people will join the meet, then I'll launch technical check is visible and my voice is audible. But like no one has joined yet. Okay, so today we will start our session. Is still no one has participated. No one has joined it yet. I don't know why do you guys are so late. Okay, yes. So ecological pyramid we discussed with you, right? Now today we will talk about ecological succession and nutrient cycle. Okay. So before starting our today's session, uh, uh, before starting today's session, we will do some recall test. Then we will move forward with a new topic. Okay. So I think I should give 1 or 2 minutes because students have not joined today's meet yet. Okay. So I think I should give few more minutes. Okay. Meanwhile, we can talk about ecological pyramids, like what have you studied ecological pyramid. And if I talk about energy flow, then look, energy flow is always unidirectional, right? If I think you all have been studied about the second law of thermodynamic, right? So what's the deal with second? Energy is transferred from one level to another, then there is some kind of loss of heat, right? And if we talk about it first, deal with first law, that energy can neither be created or nor be destroyed, but it can change from one form to another. Changing from one form to another, there must be a loss of energy. Okay, so I think you all have heard the rule of Lindman. have heard about it, right? बेटा Lindman का क्या rule था? What is the rule of Lindman? What is the rule of Lindman? That only 10% of the other processes like your ingestion, respiration, and like other metabolic activities. Okay, student? So that was the 10% law. Okay. Okay. So which was given by Lindman, and I think we have discussed, you have been studied about the trophic levels, right? And about ecological pyramid, right? About ecological pyramid also you have been studied. So yes, what's the deal with ecological pyramid? This was given by Charles Elton and it is a basically graphic representation. Okay, it is the graphic representation of ecological individual of ecology in terms of what? Individual, biomass or their energy in different trophic levels of food chain. Okay, students? So I think you all have been studied about ecological pyramid of biomass, of number of individual or energy, right? Yes, so that is the summarized way of ecological pyramid. On the basis of number, it's been classified on energy, on biomass. So if you look at this, then you will find out that pyramid of energy is always upright. Okay, it's always upright. But if you look at pyramid of numbers and pyramid of biomass, then they may be upright or inverted. How? Like in upright, in which cases? Like if you see the pyramid of number in case of grassland ecosystem, then what happens? It always goes upright, right? Means at primary level there are many producers as compared to secondary level, right? Secondary level. Then on third level, it will be minimum in number, then secondary, and then from your tertiary. Okay. Sorry. Yes. And what's the deal with inverted? It gets inverted in case of parasites, right? It gets inverted in case of parasite. Okay. So yes, in case of inverted, which generally happens in case of parasite, its pyramid is always inverted. Means the tertiary level has more number than your secondary and primary has very less. Okay. Yes. So that's the deal with your inverted pyramid of number. Okay. And if we talk about like pyramid of biomass, then what happens? In this, we take ecosystem. In this case, we represent ecosystem on the basis of biomass, right? And what's the deal with biomass? When there is upright is generally happen in case of terrestrial habitats, right? What's the deal with terrestrial habitats? Their pyramid will always be upright. Like there are numerous number of grass plants having like grass plants have higher number of biomass than compared to primary consumer, which will be your like rabbit and all. Okay. And if we talk about like on primary carnivore, or you can say secondary consumer, then that will be your fox. Okay. So it will be like this, right, students? It will be like this. Okay. On bottom, there will be a grass plant. right? And here you can take rabbit, and here you can take fox, or here you can take lion. Okay. Yes, and if we talk about like inverted case, when we take pyramid of biomass, then it generally you can see pyramid of biomass inverted in case of your aquatic system. Okay, in aquatic system, their pyramid will be inverted, means in this way. Are you getting it? Means carnivores will be having higher biomass than if you compare it with herbivores, and if you compare herbivores with producers, then it will be very small. Okay, so that's why in aquatic case it is inverted in case of aquatic system. Okay, so yes, and if we talk about like pyramid of energy, then it is always your upright. Okay, it's always upright because energy passes into higher trophic levels along with the food. Okay, and its amount will be decreased because of its laws, as we have studied according to second law of thermodynamics. There is always a loss of energy when it transfer from one level to another, right students? Okay, so here's another question for you. Yes, energy transport from one trophic level to another is, your options are 5%, option B 10%, option C 15%, option D 20%. So what will be its answer? Energy transfer from one trophic level to another. बेटा कितना ट्रांसफर होगा? कितना ट्रांसफर होगा? We just studied about it. I have run the poll also. Look, if you have any problem with my audio and the visibility of the screen, then you can let me know in the chat box. Okay? Yes. So yes, students. एनर्जी कितनी ट्रांसफर होती है? ओके, वेलकम स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ जेएनवी जंगलांग, वेलकम. Yes, so I just started a recall session, so I'm asking that how much energy is transferred will be, how much energy? JNV Changlang students, I hope my voice is audible and my screen is also visible. Now you can submit your answer through the poll. Okay, I have run the poll also. Students, okay, I am about to end the polling. I'm about to end the polling. Just submit your answer. Okay, you can submit your answer in the chat box as well. Okay, just closing the poll as none of you have replied. Yes, so basically 10%. Okay, the amount of energy, okay, it will be 10%, as very little, or you can say 10% of the energy at any trophic level is basically transferred to the next level. Okay, and the rest has lost. Okay, which is very large loss, you can say. Okay, student. So its answer will be 10%. Okay, now shall we move forward? Okay, so yes, here is another question for you, that pyramid of energy in aquatic ecosystem is, your options are A always straight, option B always inverted, option C bell shaped, or option D, none of these. Okay, I have run the poll also. I have launched the poll also. You can submit your answer through the poll or you can submit your answer in the chat box as well. I'm talking about the pyramid of energy. We just discussed about it. With a pyramid of energy, submit your answer, students. 10 seconds are left. Okay, I'm closing the poll. I don't know why are you not replying. Okay, replied option C. Option C. You all have replied option C. Seriously. Why did you reply option C? Does anyone want to tell? The pyramid of energy is always straight. Okay. Pyramid of energy is always upright, right? Right? Okay, so in chat box also. Okay, ma'am. Yes. Yes, students. So that's why its answer will be option A. Okay. Okay, students. Now let's move forward. Let's move forward. Okay, its answer is always upright. Yes. So here's another question for you, that which of the following ecological pyramid is generally inverted? Your options are pyramid of biomass in a sea, pyramid of numbers in grassland, और pyramid of energy, या फिर option D है pyramid of biomass in a forest. I have launched the poll also. You can submit your answer in the poll or you can submit your answer through the chat box. Students, submit your answer. Only 5 seconds are left. Look, I just discussed with you as okay, no one has replied, not even in chat box. I have just discussed about it. Then what's the deal with pyramid of biomass in sea? Look, there are phytoplanktons, right? There are phytoplanktons which are very less in number to if we compare them with small herbivorous fishes, right? And if you compare those herbivorous fishes then your large carnivorous fishes, then they will be really greater, right? So basically if you see that, so that is why their their pyramid will be inverted, okay? Because phytoplanktons are very small in number if you compare them with, look, these are large carnivorous fishes and these are small herbivores fishes, and you can say that these are your phytoplanktons. Okay, student, these are your phytoplanktons. So phytoplanktons in your aquatic bodies are very phytoplanktons in your aquatic bodies are very, they have very less number of mass, right? If you compare them with your small herbivores, and those small herbivorous species have very less number of biomass if you compare them with carnivorous. Okay, so that is why pyramid of biomass in case of your aquatic bodies is inverted. Okay, students? Okay, students? Are you all right? Look, you can also rate thumbs up if you are getting these things. Okay, now I think I should move forward. Okay, so its answer will be A. Yes. So today we will start our new topic, ecological succession. So students, what do you understand by ecological succession? Does anyone have idea that what is ecological succession? What is ecological succession? If you have like any kind of idea regarding it. Look, ecological succession. Yes, okay. Students of JNV Changlang, if you have any idea regarding ecological succession, then you can tell me. Okay. Yes. So basically, what's the deal with succession? Succession is basically we call succession whenever there is a series of change, or you can say a series of development is going on. Okay. So that thing is called succession. If we talk about like ecological succession, then it is a kind of natural developmental series of setting up of a community. Okay, so whenever there is a setting up of a community after a series of developmental stages, then we call it ecological succession. Okay, students? Yes. So we will study about pioneer community and climax community. Okay, students? So, what's the deal with pioneer community? What's the deal with pioneer community? Okay, just a second. Meanwhile, you just tell me what's the deal with pioneer community. Look, whenever there is okay, so yes. So what's the deal with pioneer community? Whenever a biotic community develops in a bare area. What do you understand by bare area? Beta, what do you understand by bare area? When there is nothing. Okay, when there is not even a single plant. Okay, so whenever biotic community develops in a bare area, okay, then it is called pioneer community. Okay, it is called pioneer community. Are you getting it, student? Bare area is where there are no living organisms. Okay, and what is the other deal with it? Look, its development, because it has very little diversity. Okay, so that is why its development will take too much time. Okay, so it will take longer time. Okay, it will take longer time. Whenever there is succession going on a bare area, then it will take longer time because of bare area, there is little diversity. Okay. So that's the deal with your pioneer community. If we talk about like climate community, and always remember that यहाँ पे काफी ज़्यादा like lifespan of their organism is very short. Okay, lifespan will be very short. Are you writing along with me, students? Lifespan will be very short. Okay, but and then it will be replaced by the next sterile community. Okay, so the changes which occur, I mean all these developmental changes is called SARE. Okay, okay students, yes, yes. So that's about pioneer community. If we talk about climax community, then what is climax community? Beta, what do you mean by climax community? It is the, you can say, stable or final biotic community that develops after the biotic succession. Okay, climax बोलते हैं ना, climax means it is the stable or you can say final. Climax community, write down these things, that is the final biotic community that develops in an area. Okay, and this climax community generally occur over an previously occupied sterile communities. Are you getting it? Means this is the final stage. Okay students, this is the final stage. This biotic community, this final stage comes after when there has when all the like this is the final stage, whenever there is already succession happened and there is always already a biotic community set up. So after that it happens. Okay, so that is why it's a stable. Are you getting it, students? So climax is the final biotic community. Okay, yes. Now write down another point, that it consists numerous large and small sized, consist numerous large and small sized, numerous large and small sized organisms. Okay, and what's the another point? That the area is favorable for the, and then it grows on built up soil. Okay, are you getting it? Because it is the final community, that's why it generally grows on the built up soil. But when we talk about pioneer community, then it is developing from a bare area. Okay, so here soil growth is also taking place. Okay, so here soil growth hoti hai. Okay, so soil growth generally take place during this community setup, but in climax community it is generally built up, is generally built up on the, is generally built up on the developed soil. And lifespan of these organisms is generally longer. Okay, because they have already gone through several transitional changes, right? So lifespan is generally longer. Okay, students, but growth is quite slow. Okay, so it is basically stable community, right? Stable, or you can say self-perpetuating. Self-perpetuating and final biotic community. Okay, final biotic community. So that's the deal with your climax community. Okay. So basically आपके जो बायोटिक सक्सेशन और इकोलॉजिकल सक्सेशन में क्या होता है, it goes through several series of development, and while they were developing, they were going through several developmental stages, then that transitional changes are called your sayer. Okay, yes. So if we move forward toward our next thing, that is like what kind of changes generally occur. Now we will talk about changes during biotic succession. Now we have already talked that what happens during pioneer community, when pioneer community is set up, and when climax community is set up. Okay, but now we will talk about that what actually happens during the biotic succession. Okay, क्या होता है? Does anyone want to tell that what actually happens when a biotic succession is going on? What actually happens when biotic succession is going on? Does anyone want to tell? Does anyone want to tell what actually happens? Students, please participate in the class. Students, what actually happens? Okay, just wait for a while. I think the screen has some issue. Wait. So, yes, students, I'm sharing my screen. Sorry for this trouble. Okay. Yes, wait. Yes, so we were here. Yes, so I'm asking that what are the changes that actually happens during our biotic succession? Changes during biotic succession. So बेटा क्या क्या changes होते हैं? First thing is that जो आपके जो short lived plants होते हैं वो long lived plants बनते हैं, right? We have talked about that in pioneer community. Lifespan is generally short, right? But if we talk about like climax community, then it will be increased. Okay, so आपका क्या होता है? Small short lived plants to long lived plants. Okay, and what other thing happens? Unstability से क्या होता है? Stable हो जाता है, right? So unstable biotic community to stable. Your unstable biotic community to stable community, right? And what will be the another point? Increase in biomass, right? There are increase in biomass Are you writing, students, along with me? Okay. And what are the another qualities? Look, I have told that यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा होता है आपका, this soil growth taking place. Okay, because that was a bare area, right? And here built up हो जाता है soil. Okay, so soil growth also takes place, right, students? Are you getting these things? So आपका soil growth भी हो रही होती है, and or you can say soil differentiation. Right? And what will be the other points? Increase in humus content. Increase in humus content. Now, what do you understand by humus? Beta, humus क्या होता है? What do you understand by humus? Answer in the chat box. Humus किसे बोलते हैं? Students, what do you understand by humus? Students of JNB Changlang and Basmat Nagar, what is humus? Basically, when your old leaves, or you can say another plant material, fall down in the soil, then it starts degrading, right? It starts degrading. Whenever your old leaves or like any kind of dead biomass goes into the soil, or you can say fall down because of aging, then what happens? Various microorganisms act on it, okay, and start degrading it. Then they convert those plant material, or you can say dead old leaves, into organic matter. Then this content we call humus. Okay, are you getting it? So basically क्या क्या changes होते हैं आपके biotic succession में? एक तो लाइफ स्पेन बढ़ जाती है, right? लाइफ स्पेन from short lived to long lived, right? And there will be stability from unstable changes to stability, because stability कब आती है? Where after setting up of your climax community, right? It starts from pioneer community when there was a barren area, right? And on barren area it starts forming soil, right? There's soil differentiation going on. But after all these transitional changes, when development happened, then the final community setup, that is your climax community. So during this succession, there is increase in biomass also happened, right? There is soil differentiation also happened, and content of humus has also increased, right? So these are the changes that actually happens during your biotic succession. Are you getting it, students? Okay. So what will be the another thing? What will be the another thing? There will be change from your simple food chain to simple food chain to complex food webs. Do you know the difference between food chain and food web? Food chain and food web. Do you know the basic difference, students? I think you all have studied about food chain and food web, right? What is the basic difference between food chain and food web? Who will tell? Students, look, you have to participate in the class, okay? If you can access your chat box now, then you should use it, okay? Just answer whatever I'm asking. If you can access your chat box, then please answer it. Or do you have any issue with my voice? No? Just tell me. Okay, so basically आपकी जो food chain होती है, food chain का concept क्या होता है? What is the concept of food chain? That it is unidirectional, like the plants will be eaten by your herbivores, and those herbivores will be eaten by carnivores, and those carnivores will be eaten by your larger carnivores, right? But what's the deal with food web? Everything is interlinked. Everything is interlinked, right? Right, student? सब कुछ क्या है? Interlinked है. There is no unidirectional way of eating as it happens in food chain. There is an interlink, right? So yes. So that's what happened during the food web. Okay, and what will be the another change? What will be the another change? Increase in your respiratory. Yes. Okay, if you can access the chat, then you should use it, right, students? And I know students of JNV Changlang can use it, and I don't know about the students of JNV Basmat Nagar, but JNV Changlang students, I think I have taken classes for you now. So, no, that was with the 11th class. Okay, okay, great. Yes. So, yes. What other things happen during biotic succession? Reduction in productivity, right? Reduction in productivity. Reduction in productivity, right, students? Okay. So that's about the changes that actually happens during your biotic succession, or you can say increase in respiratory consumption भी. Okay, increase in respiratory consumption. Okay, yes. So now let's talk about the type of ecological succession. Okay, so I think I have told you what seral community किसे बोलते हैं? There is another term called seral community. Climax तो आपका final community हो गया, right? Climax is your final community, but what's the deal with seral community? It is the transitional community. Means, what do you understand by transitional community? What do you mean by transitional community? Look, whenever there is changes going on, then we call it transitional stage. Okay. Okay, and in this kind of community, biomass is not that much. Okay, means biomass is small, right? And diversity is of low degree. Means diversity भी इतनी complex नहीं होगी. Diversity is of low complexity, or you can say low degree. Okay, students. And what will be the another point? Size will be smaller of the individual. Okay, so individual size will be smaller. Okay, and nutrient conservation is also very low, because the change is already going on. Which thing? Yes, I'm talking. Yeah, sure, JNV Changlang student. I can repeat it. Wait. Yes. So I was writing that nutrient conservation is low. Okay. Yes. So basically, look, there we have talked about three kind of communities till now. Okay, biotic succession means whenever there is development going on. Okay, and pioneer community is that community from where the development started from the bare area. Okay, bare area means when there is no living organisms, not even a single plant there. Okay, so whenever development starts from a bare area, then this kind of community is called pioneer community. Okay, students, this is called your pioneer community, and it will take longer time because soil is not developed, because that was the bare area, right? Soil growth, or you can say soil differentiation, is taking place, right? So there will be obviously very little diversity, and lifespan of those kind of organisms will be very small. Lifespan will be very short because there are several changes going on now. Okay, so pioneer community is that kind of community. And if we talk about like serial community, then it is basically the transitional community. Whenever there is changes going on, then this kind of community we call transitional community. So here biomass is also small because a lot of change is going on, right? And again diversity भी low होगी because changes चल रहे हैं, right? Nothing is final. And if we talk about like individual size, then it will be smaller and there will be no nutrient conservation. Okay, so that's about the serial community. And if we talk about like climax community, then climax community is your final biotic community. Okay, your climax community is the final biotic community. Okay, means it is that community when development has already taken place. Okay, so it is the final stage, and that is why it is stable. But if you talk about pioneer or serial, then they are not stable because development is still going on, right? On pioneer, it starts from your bare area, right? And in serial, it is already a transitional stage, so that is why it's not stable. But if you look at the climax community, then it is stable because it is the final stage. At this stage, development has already taken place. Okay, so your soil differentiation, or you can say the soil growth, layers of soil has already been developed. Okay, so that's why it is very stable kind of community, and that's why we call it final community. And if you look at the biomass, then the organism having higher biomass, and the organisms have you can say longer lifespan if you compare them with pioneer or serial community species. Okay, so these are the things. So these are the three kind of community we have named. I'm not we have, but yeah, scientists or you can say ecologists have named, right students? And these are the changes which actually takes place during biotic succession. Do you know the biotic and abiotic? What is the difference between biotic and abiotic? Do you know this now? That biotic is the living organisms, right? And if we talk about abiotic, then abiotic is the non-living organisms, right? So biotic succession means there is means biotic species, or you can say your all living beings and all, they are going through several changes, right? So what kind of changes they have gone through, or they are still going on those areas, then these are the changes. Okay, first of all, अनस्टेबिलिटी से स्टेबिलिटी की तरफ जा रहा है, राइट? सॉइल ग्रोथ हो रही है, the things are going from instability to stability, and there is soil differentiation is going on. They have increasing humus content, right? And from simple food chain there is interlinking of all the organism. That is why from simple food chain it is moving toward food web, right? And there is also increase in biomass. Okay, so small short-lived plants will be going towards the longer-lived plants. Okay, so that is actually happened during succession. Are you getting it, students? Are you getting it, students? You can also rate thumbs up. Okay, so let's talk about primary succession. What actually happens during primary succession and secondary succession, and we will study about their differences. Okay, so let's talk about primary succession. So what happened during primary succession? Look, it is very primary stage, as its name suggests, right? So what happens during it? What happens during it? Look, in this kind of succession, newly exposed area, or you can say, for example, your newly exposed sea floor, igneous rocks, sand dunes, or like other submerged areas can be the example of your primary area. Okay, so what happened in primary succession? It takes a very long time. Okay, it takes very long time, even sometimes 1,000 to several thousand years. Okay, because again soil is not developed, right? Soil development is taking place That's why it states like several to thousand years. So we have also called it, क्या बोल देंगे इसको, यहाँ पे भी आपका जो न्यू एरिया है वहां से डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है. ओके, सो दैट इज व्हाई वी हैव पुट इट इनटू प्राइमरी डेवलपमेंट. ओके, as you can see in this diagram also, there are exposed rocks, then your, this is the exposed area, then your lichen comes, mosses, then weeds, then herbaceous plants, then shrubs, then your forest, then mature forest, then the final community has set up, that is your climax forest, and we are calling it climax forest. Are you saying it? Can you see this? How is primary succession taking place? On exposed area, first of all there is development of your lichen, right? What are lichens? अच्छा बेटा, what are lichens? लाइकिन क्या होते हैं? कौन बताएगा लाइकिन क्या होते हैं? What do you mean by lichen? Students, this is very simple thing. I think you should look. Lichen is the, you can say, symbiotic organism, or right? When fungus and algae make symbiotic association, then we call them lichen, right? Then we call them lichen. Okay, they have two kind of bodies. First one is your fruticose, and the other one is your foliose. Okay, fruticose is your tiny leafless branches, and if we talk about foliose, then it is flat leaf like. Okay, students, and if we talk about like its other type, then it will be your crust like, which is generally lies on a substrate, or you can say any surface. Okay, and the powder like appearance lichen is called your leptose. Okay, it doesn't matter, but yes, I'm just telling you that lichen is the symbiotic organism, like it is made up of fungus and your algae. Okay, so first stage is your lichen stage, when lichen starts propagating on the wet rock surface area after the rain. Okay, so after the rain, when this become wet, then lichen starts to proliferate here. Okay, so what happens after that? What happens after that? Look, lichen can tolerate, you can say, excessive heating, excessive cooling. Okay, so they start doing slow weathering. They start doing slow weathering. Do you know now what do you mean by weathering? Students, do you know what do you mean by weathering? Weathering is the decomposition, right? So lichen start withering of rocks and formation of soil. Okay बेटा, lichen आपका क्या करता है? Lichen start slow withering of rocks and formation of soil. But how they do it? Because they secrete. What do they secrete? They secrete acids. Okay, you can say some lichen acids and carbonic acid. Okay, students, and this is how they slowly degrade the rock surface and release mineral. Okay, this is how they corrode the rock surface. Okay, and release minerals, for the development of soil. Are you getting it, students? Are you getting it? Beta, are you getting it? Newly exposed rocks, when after heavy rain, they form lichen. And lichen, what are lichen? Beta, what are lichen? Lichen are basically symbiotic organism. Okay, it is made up of fungi and algae. So what they do, they secrete acids which degrade the rock surface, and when rocks start degrading, then it releases several minerals, and due to these kind of action, soil differentiation taking place. Okay, so that actually happens. Then after the lichen, there will be a moss stage. There is moss stage. Moss stage. Okay, so first one is your lichen stage, and the other one is your mosses stage, right? And what happens during moss stage? That foliose lichen which grows on rock makes such kind of favorable condition that mosses grow. Okay, lichen makes favorable condition due to which mosses start growing. Okay, students, due to which mosses start growing, and mosses are larger in size. Okay, they mosses का क्या काम होता है? They accumulate. Are you writing this, students? They accumulate more soil and organic matter. Okay, students, they accumulate more soils and organic matter. And what about their substratum? It remains moist for longer period, and and the withering and fragmentation of rocks still going on. Okay, due to withering and fragmentation, due to withering and fragmentation of rocks, that substratum remains moisture, and due to this moisture, these mosses start growing. Okay, so yes, substrate will remain moistened, which invaded the next state, which is your grass stage. Which is your grass stage, right, students? Grass stage, what happens actually during the grass stage? The mat which is formed by mosses on the partially fragmented rock, it become moistened enough for the germination of seeds. Okay, so basically what happens during it? Grasses starts forming due to the mat. Okay, so the mat formed by mosses on partially fragmented rocks become moist enough to allow germination of seeds. Okay, to allow germination of seeds. And after this, what happens? The grasses starts growing and their roots penetrate deeper into the rock. Okay, and soil become favorable for the growth of longer lived annual grasses. Okay, so this process of soil accumulation will start continuing. Okay, so next stage will be on, as you can see in this diagram, that grasses and weeds will grow. Okay, so grasses may, आपकी annual or perennial grasses will be grown. Okay, so your annual grasses will be replaced by perennial grasses due to the increased moisture. Okay, so आप fourth point में लिख सकते हो. Yes, your, why I'm saying your, yes, so annual grasses will be replaced by perennial grasses. Okay, due to which, due to increased moisture and soil, due to increased moisture and soil. Okay, students, and after this stage, what happens? Soil become favorable for longer lived plants. Okay, and after this fourth stage, which stage will come? Scrub stage. Okay, what happened during this? What happens during this shrub stage? It is shrub stage में क्या होगा? As you can see in this, ये जो shrub stage है, इसमें क्या हो रहा है? Small trees are started growing. Okay, so there will be your shrub stage, and during this stage, what happens? Shrubs are basically, if you compare shrubs with the grasses, then they are obviously longer, larger, and their roots are also deeper than grasses, right? So it will start causing crack in the rocky substratum. Okay, so what happened? As they are larger and have deeper roots, so they start cracking the rocks. Okay, they start cracking the rocks, and what will happen after that? What will happen after that? More soil formation. It lead to more soil formation, right students? Basically आपका soil का differentiation हो रहा है, right? On every stage there is differentiation of soil going on so that more diversity of plants can grow, right? After your shrub stage, I mean when shrub stage does more soil differentiation, then your shrub will be set up, right? And after that, climax formality will come. Means after your shrubby trees, then what will happen? Climax stage, or you can say the stable stage, will come. And what happens during this stage? As slowly this environment become more moist and shadier. Okay, as environment become more shadier and moisten. So climax community start spreading, right? It is start spreading. So basically, it's all, everything depends on your climate. If like you have studied this whole succession, and you must have observed that everything will depend on the climate, right? Everything is depend on the climate. Okay, so the succession which happen on bare rock, okay, the succession which happen on bare rock is called succession on bare rock is called, what it is called, what it will be called, beta, what it will call, lithosphere or xerosphere? Lithosphere or xerosphere. Okay, students, lithosphere and xerosphere. So that actually happens when your succession is going on, when your succession is going on a bare rock. Okay, because rock is also called, you all know that, look, in biology you can break the term and find out its. Okay, sorry for the background disturbances as I'm sitting near the window. So yes, so basically these are the basic stage of your primary succession. Okay, so whenever there is succession going on bare rock, then we call it lithosphere. And what actually happened when these rocks exposed to like moisture through the rain, right? This moisture, how does this moisture happen here? Due to the heavy rain, right? So what happens, that lichen start growing. And lichen, what does lichen do actually? They secrete acids, due to which, due to the acid, the rock start withering, right? And when rocks start withering, then it will release some minerals. And due to the release of minerals, what happens? Soil formation start taking place. And when soil formation start taking place and lichen is making the rock substrate moisture and withered, then mosses also start growing, right? And what happens when mosses start growing? They again do their work. They also participate in soil formation, or you can say soil differentiation. Then again the next higher level will be joined, right? So what happened? Grasses starts growing. Okay, and when grasses have like roots which also deepen into the rock and also start and also contribute something in soil differentiation, then after these grasses, annual or perennial grasses, there are like shrubby trees also came. And then shrubby trees having like high number like longer roots. If you compare them with grasses, then they have longer roots. Okay, then after the longer roots and uh, by setting up of your shrubby trees, they also participate in soil differentiation. Okay, so more soil differentiation will lead to the climax forest, means there is growing of higher level of trees. Okay, so that's why a climax community will set up. Okay, so this is how a community will set up from a bare rock to the climax forest. Okay, so this is called your primary succession, and these are the stages of your primary succession. First is your lichen, second is your mosses, third is your grasses, and the other one is your shrub, and the final is your climax. And we will study about secondary succession in our next lecture. Okay, so yes, so here's a question for you. presence of plants arranged into well-defined vertical layers depending on their height can be seen best in. Your options are tropical rainforest, your option B grassland, option C temperate forest, your option D tropical savanna. So आपको कहाँ देखने को मिल जाएंगे? Like well arranged plants, okay, like on every category of plant you can see which kind of forest: tropical rainforest, grassland, temperate forest, tropical savanna. कहाँ देखने को मिलेंगे? You can submit your answer in the poll or you can submit your answer in the chat box as well. Okay, I have run the poll also. Okay, students, answer fast. Okay, yes. So basically, you can see like every kind of plants arranged into well-defined vertical layer in your tropical rainforest. Like because of proper climate, you can see these kind of condition in your tropical rainforest, right? So your option A will be the correct answer. Okay. So we will discuss these questions tomorrow. And I think that's it for today. You can write down your homework that you have to read NCERT textbook line by line very carefully. And if you have any query, then you can ask that query in the next lecture. And the second thing is that you try to solve all the questions from your module, okay, related to this topic. And the third one is the most important, revision. Okay, so you have to revise everything whatever you have studied till now, because revision is very must. Okay, don't pile up things. कोई भी चीज पाइल अप मत करो, साथ ही साथ चीजों को रिवाइज करते हुए चलो. दैट विल बी वेरी कन्वीनियंट एंड हेल्पफुल टू यू. ओके, सो चीजों को पाइल अप मत करो. जस्ट ट्राई टू रिवाइज एवरीथिंग एवरी डे. ओके, सो रिवीजन इज मस्ट एंड जस्ट ट्राई टू टेक आउट एटलीस्ट couple of hours for your self study or your self analysis. Okay, so in that couple of hours try to solve all the questions related to the module and just revise everything. Okay, not only biology, even physics and chemistry also. I keep saying these things that you should take physics and chemistry along with you, because without physics and chemistry you can't crack NEET. Okay, like biology is important obviously, but you should also take physics and chemistry along with you. Okay, so these are very tiny things which can really influence you. Okay, which can really affect your exam. Okay, so revision is must, so do not forget to revise everything whatever you have studied till now. Okay, so that's it from my side. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. I think we should wind up now. Okay.